Race and the newest and most exciting version of auto racing, the NASCAR SuperTrucks. Paul?
Thanks, Julie. That's snow on the Sierras at the edge of the San Joaquin Valley. We're at the edge of Bakersfield at the beautiful Mesa Marin Raceway. This is the birthplace of the SuperTruck, and we're ready for round 4 of NASCAR SuperTruck Series. And what you're about to see here with these beautiful trucks is a blinding moment of the obvious. The minute you see the SuperTrucks race, you're going to ask yourself why it didn't happen years ago. Take a full-size pickup and race it on an oval. This series has excited the entire racing community. It's not just a series for the young chargers, also for the great champions. As a matter of fact, take a look at this. This is a list of great champions from other series and, in fact, other disciplines who are now regulars in the SuperTruck series. It is an incredible series. We look forward to a truly exciting afternoon. It has great fans, great stories, and great names. Consider this name, Phil Parsons, the '88 winner at Talladega in the 500, or the current points 5th place in the Busch standings. Well, he had a weekend off, so he comes here to work in the pits for us. And Phil, you've got another great name with you.
I sure do, Paul, from a great family, P.J. Jones, outside pole sitter here. P.J., you've driven all kinds of different race cars. Tell me the difference between this truck and anything else you've driven.
Well, the truck's a little bit different. It's kind of just like a Winston Cup car. It's hard to compare that to, say, a Toyota GTP car, but the racing here is what makes a difference. I mean, we're running side by side, nose to tail for the whole race. Dyson for the lead. Sears Diehard #1's been quick all weekend. Ron Shaver's built us a great motor this weekend. I think the key here is just going to be keeping those Goodyear tires on those American racing wheels, because it's tough on tires here.
I tell you, Paul, you can look for this guy to be up front when this thing's over.
Bet you can. Well, since Phil's in the pits, in the booth will be Jack Arute. We're talking, Jack, about trucks that are profiles of trucks, but thoroughbred racers underneath.
Paul, strip away the sheet metal, and what you have underneath NASCAR SuperTrucks is all Winston Cup. I'll tell you what, same chassis, same weight, 3,400 pounds. You've had to move the rear window area up about 8 inches. The height is about 9 inches higher, and they're 2 inches longer, the SuperTrucks, than their Winston Cup brothers.
Now, the short oval, is it a good stage for the SuperTruck?
Well, it may not be Daytona in speeds of 200 miles an hour, but if you intend to win in SuperTrucks on a short track, you've got to use up every bit of sheet metal you have. It's a war out there.
What about that, Phil? We're talking about a war here?
I'll tell you, if there's a war out here, and this guy knows how to do it. Mike Skinner on the pole for the 3rd consecutive race. Mike, because of the shortness of the race, you're not going to be able to change tires. What strategy will you play because of that?
We're probably going to lay back and let them run pretty hard today and see if we can keep tires on this GM Goodrich #3 Chevrolet truck. If we can, maybe we'll have something for them toward the end, Phil.
All right, Mike, have a good run. I'll tell you what, I've never seen this guy lay back. I raced against him back east, and I've never seen him lay back. And if you look at this truck, it's a black #3. Well, it's no mistake. It's supposed to look like that. This truck is owned by Richard Childress, Dale Earnhardt's Winston Cup car owner. This guy right here is really living up to this truck, and I'll tell you what, you look for him to be up front when the race is over. Let's go back upstairs to Paul Page.
All right, Phil, the engines are already started. Look at them there. Are they spectacular or what? Let's take a look at the starting grid for the 4th round of the NASCAR SuperTruck Series. On the pole is Mike Skinner, the 3rd straight pole for the Phoenix race winner. Alongside, you just met him, P.J. Jones. He came from 3 laps down to finish 2nd at Tucson. In row 2, Bill Sedgwick. He ran 3rd last week at Santa Clarita. And Dave Resendez, Jeff Bodine's crew chief, has taken the wheel this week. In row 3, Jack Sprague, a Michigan native who ranks 5th in the points. And Ron Hornaday Jr., the winner at Tucson 2 weeks ago. Opener. In row 5, Bob Keselowski, the former champion of the ARCA Stock Car Series. And Joe Ruttman, he has 2 top 10 finishes in Ernie Irvin's truck this season. In row 6, Rick Corelli and Steve Portengay. Row 7, Toby Butler and Pancho Carter. In the 8th row, Troy Beebe and Gary Collins. In row 9, Mike Bliss and Butch Gillian. Row 10, Wayne Jacks and Stan Fox. The 11th row is Bob Strait and John Nemechek. Row 12, Butch Miller and Dave Ashley. The 13th row, Scott Lagasse and John Kinder. Row 14, Bob Walker and the great Walker Evans. And the 15th and final row, Jerry Churchill and Kerry Teague. So there they are, the 51 car already with a problem, Jack.
Well, the 51 truck of Kerry Teague was late getting here. In fact, he almost had to qualify what's called a show truck. But the report is that we may have some trouble with Kerry Teague, and also Butch Miller in car number 98. The hood is up on his truck as well. So two of the people that we were counting on to be in this race have already befallen mechanical problems before the drop of the green flag.
All right, let's take a look at the race analysis for this run here at the Mesa Marin Raceway. A spectacular track. Half-mile around. It is high banked, $147,000 purse. 125 laps, 62.5 miles. No pit stops anticipated. In fact, you can get in trouble if you start changing tires. 17 Chevys, 11 Fords, and 2 Dodges. Weather today couldn't be better. Absolutely perfect for racing. As take a look at that field. We've got a couple of in-cars for you. Let's start with P.J. Jones. The view back from the outside of the front row. And we also have cameras on board with the pole sitter, Mike Skinner. There he is, looking out the front to the pace truck. We're ready to go green as they're on the backstretch.
And a big break for both Teague and for Miller. They finished their work and they're able to get back into the field at the tail.
Mike Skinner takes control of the field. P.J. Jones just outside. Menendez, Sedgwick's just behind. We're green. Here we go. You're going to love it. Skinner moves in front of Jones. Battle right at the front of the field, right off the back. Sedgwick sitting in third place, sitting back just a bit. Resendez tries to move high, down low. Hornaday tries to make a move.
Now, Resendez is not in a position he'd like to be as he tries to make it 3 wide going into turn number 1. He's hung out on the outside, Paul. That's not where you want to be, especially early in the race.
Mike Skinner has led in each of the 4 SuperTruck races this season, the only driver in the series to do so. Battle is still for third place. Hornaday down on the inside. Sedgwick up high. They're side by side down the front straight. They'll go into the corner that way. Boy, look at that. Sedgwick gets way high, loses a bit.
Paul, Sedgwick didn't even think he was going to be running a SuperTruck this year. He was scheduled to be simply a crew chief. But then when Dale Earnhardt called upon his car to be in competition all the time, being driven by Hornaday, Sedgwick got the ride. Now he's battling with who he was supposed to be a crew chief for.
Hornaday looking very strong, running in third place. Sedgwick dropping back, that high line not working as well for him as he would like. But Hornaday now taking a look at the high line. Look at Sedgwick close in. Menendez and Mears gets together. Just a light tap, but they keep going. Mears looking to the inside now as he tries to get inside the 7 truck, excuse me. Can't do it though. Back at the front. There's Resendez, Mears. Back at the front. PJ has been doing what he can to try and catch up, and in fact has signaled several times that he's thinking about that inside line. On board with P.J. Jones, right off the roof.
P.J. Jones didn't even think he was going to be running a SuperTruck this year. This ride was earmarked for his younger brother, Paige, who was critically injured last year and still is recuperating in a hospital outside of Los Angeles, California. P.J. picked up the gauntlet. He says he's dedicated the season of this SuperTruck to his little brother, Paige.
All of us in racing, of course, wish our best to Paige and hope that we can see him back. There's what's happened in the NFL draft. Keep you appraised of that throughout the afternoon, too.
This series is starting to look like a draft for Winston Cup as well, Paul. A lot of young runners are using this as a springboard to try and impress.
The inside, and he takes the lead. Hornaday closes in behind him, and Hornaday is going to try to make the move for second place. First time that PJ has led a lap in the 94 SuperTruck season.
If you look on board the camera shots when they work the turns, you'll see that right now the hot way around this racetrack is to take the left side wheels and put them on the inside, beyond the white line. As the race progresses and the tires build up heat and lose some of their grip, that line's going to move out even further.
So now closing in as best he can is Hornaday. He taps the back end of Jones. Phil Parsons, we're taking a look at PJ out in front.
I'll tell you, Paul, Leon Ruther, PJ's crew chief, said that the ideal way to run this race, lead one lap, ride for 100 laps, and then race the last 24. Well, he's led 2 laps now. We'll see how much he wants to give that lead up.
So Hornaday continues his battle at the front. At the same time, Sedgwick is battling alongside. And Hornaday moves to the front of the field. So we've got movement in the top 5 positions. Hornaday now leads. Jones is into second place. Sedgwick into third. Skinner drops back into fourth. Roger Mutters into fifth. And Renendez moves into sixth place. So we're underway here with the NASCAR SuperTrucks. And already you get an idea of just how really good it's going to be.
ABC's Wide World of Sports, brought to you by Chevrolet. One car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR. Genuine Chevrolet. Full View TV offering up to 350 channels. The satellite system with the best view. McDonald's, have you had your break today? And Smooth Busch Beer. Head for the mountains of Busch.
We're back live at Mesa Marin for the NASCAR SuperTrucks. While we were away, one move in the standings as Bill Sedgwick got around P.J. Jones and moved into second place. We're also seeing a battle to develop a little further back between Roger Mears, and he's actually being attacked by several different vehicles, Rick Corelli, and also in that battle right now is Jack Sprague. There it is for you. The 25 truck is Roger Mears. That's Corelli moving to the outside.
Now, Corelli's going to be a little loose as he comes out of the corner. Can't hold that line as he tries to get around Roger Mears. Mears will try and stick the nose to the inside. You see now, fade the car up a little bit, the truck that is, up to try and take the traction away from the outside run.
And Roger Mears in front of the hometown crowd here still can't hold off Corelli.
Corelli just went in just a little bit deeper that time and was able to get the advantage.
Look at where that truck is operating, too. He can operate real high.
Well, a lot of the drivers thought that they were going to have to set up for the high line to save tires, and also because of the heavy race traffic in a short track. You're already into race traffic, and you've got to be able to move the groove up because the slower cars tend to use up the lower groove. So we basically used up the hot way around the racetrack already and replaced it with race traffic.
So Mike Skinner dropping back through the field now. Hornaday still the leader. Bill Sedgwick is in second. Then PJ. There's Roger Mears. Brother, of course, to Rick Mears of IndyCar fame. Back at the front of the field as Sedgwick now moves to the outside. They encounter slower traffic ahead. Sedgwick looking for racing room to get Hornaday.
Now let's see if Hornaday will use the race traffic as a pick. When you're at the wheel of a car or a truck, you try to gauge when you're going to be passing traffic. Make the guy that's chasing you down try to back out of the throttle. Race traffic directly in front of these super trucks right now. And oh boy, you can see there where Hornaday led and again faded Sedgwick up to the high side, trying to get him out of the throttle just a bit. That's all part of short track racing.
And in short track racing, you're turning all the time. They close on Pancho Carter.
And here's that pick move I was talking about. Hornaday holds the spot, and when you're at the wheel like Sedgwick is in the second place machine, knowing your super truck may be just a little bit quicker, this is so frustrating.
Several trucks ahead, Dave Ashley and Stan Fox. They go to the high side. First and second come around.
You can see how quick Hornaday comes back down to the low groove once he dispatches with the racetrack. He's driving a smart race right now.
And right now they're pulling away from third place and using traffic very much to their advantage. Third place, of course, is Skinner. PJ now runs in fourth.
But when you're Ron Hornaday right now, feeling the hot breath of Sedgwick as Sedgwick plants the front quarter to the outside, you're really just about on the edge. You're running it just to the outside of the envelope, and it might be a little early for that type of running.
Sedgwick very carefully feeling him out. Sedgwick still working him. So Ron Hornaday Jr., the leader of the race. We asked him earlier about this race, and win at the edge. How do you know when you're really in trouble out on a half-mile short oval like this?
Well, probably about when you're in the fence. No, I really don't. You get out there and, you know, as more and more you put laps on it and the tires get to wear down a little bit and your brakes are starting to fade, and you know when you're gone. But the truck, the way you sit in it, you don't even know you're in a super truck. Like I said, NASCAR came out with something good, and to put these bodies on these Winston Cup frames and everything, they're the stablest things I've ever drove.
So there he is, Hornaday Jr., number 16, the leader now. Sedgwick continues to work at him as they circle this track. The average here is about 90 miles an hour. So going down the straightaway, they're up over 100 real easy.
They're hauling the mail, Paul. Now, this racetrack is similar to the Martinsville Speedway that the Winston Cup brethren are running at this weekend, and these super trucks qualified 3 miles an hour slower. There's a major reason why. The banking and the cornering here at Mesa Marin is very different than that we see at Martinsville, Virginia. And remember, they run a little bit different engine package that we'll talk about later. The super trucks versus the Winston Cup.
So Sedgwick sits back, waits station for the time being. One of the concerns here is how long you can keep your tires efficient. So you don't want to make any real hard moves early on in the run. Ron Hornaday Jr. is the leader. His father drove a Cup car from 1955 to 61. The best finish of fourth at far away at Sacramento in 1960. There's your running order. Just outside of turn 3 here at Mesa Marin is where the Super Truck was born. Gary Collins built the first Super Truck and drives the Mesa Marin Raceway, sponsored Chevrolet, on a team owned by his father. And his brother Larry helps run the track here. Racing is a real family business here at Mesa Marin. As the yellow flag flies at the starting line.
And believe it or not, Paul, it was for Gary Collins. Collins in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And let's take a look at exactly what happened with Collins.
74 truck.
The red and white cars, the red and white truck, I follow you. You man the limps long enough. Let's see what happens. Down low, he's pinched. Steve Portengay just pinches him off, and then you've got to lock up the binders, and you've got one super truck doing a 360.
Troy Beebe also got into the melee just a little bit. You know, we laugh about cars, trucks. They actually have bets here going among the crews on how they refer to them.
Well, I tell you what,
it's not natural.
It's not natural because it's the first time we've ever seen trucks in actual competition as a series. And what all of the crews and NASCAR officials have done is there's a $1 fine for every time you say car instead of truck. And they're planning to have one whalable party at the end of the year. I think they might be able to go to the 21 Club the way things are going.
Just off you and I alone, no question about that. Alan Porter has the yellow flag out. Let's go to Phil Parsons.
Hey guys, I'm with Ernie Irvin here. Ernie, everyone wants to know when you're going to be back. We know you've tested the Super Truck some. We know you've tested your Winston Cup car. Tell us about it.
Well, you know, all my testing's been going real good, but you know, I just want to be patient, and it's real hard to do because I'm a racer, and you know, but be patient. You know, hopefully it won't be much longer.
How's your driver doing today?
He's doing pretty good. You know, we kind of really set the truck up to run a real long run, and Joe, we kept harping on him that you got to really, you know, be there at the end. The guy that wins this race is going to be the guy that, you know, be hooked up off the corner at the end.
Thanks, Ernie. I tell you, a lot of people can't wait to see this guy back out on a racetrack.
A lot of people, including us. It's good to see him recovering as well as he is.
Well, this caution may be very good for a lot of the front runners because I was tires just a little bit more than they need to. Now, when we say abuse a tire, it's not wearing out. What's happening is the grip is being adjusted because of the heat that's being retained. And we saw that there seemed to be two thought processes going on as we watched Hornaday as he went to the front. He was pursued by Skinner, not by Skinner, but by Sedgwick. But as we watched Skinner and Jones, your front row, they backed off. They ran just a little bit less, let the truck run a little freer in the corners. Now they're able to get back to the green flag. They've cooled the tires down. They'll go racing once again.
Trucks a lap down or to the inside. John Kinder down there a lap down. Hornaday ready to bring him back to the green flag. Here we go again. 46 laps into the record book. 125 the scheduled distance.
And Sedgwick is going to continue to try that high side, Paul. Now he'll dip to the inside.
Sedgwick moves inside. Let's go on board with Skinner. He rides in third. Sedgwick takes the lead. Skinner tries to take second, away from Hornaday.
There's a classic example right there, Paul, of once you made the opening, you've rooted the guy to the high side. The fellow that's running in third in the triangle can try and sneak through. That's what Skinner's trying to do right now.
And Hornaday's not having any part of it. But he is forcing Hornaday to stay high. Walker Evans heads for the pits while we keep watching this battle for the lead. You're watching from the third place truck, Michael Skinner.
There's Walker Evans. Evans, who said at the beginning when he first ran out here, he said, guys, this is totally different for me. In fact, when he went to qualify in Phoenix, he asked NASCAR if they could take a couple of cactus and a big old rock and put it in the middle of the racetrack so he'd be used to the off-road racing.
Back up in front. Now, they were changing the right front. What's the rule on that, SuperTruck racing here?
The rule is that you cannot change a tire unless it is flat. If it is flat, it's very similar to the International Race of Champions. If it is flat, no harm, no foul, change it. But if you change a tire under any conditions, it is not flat, it is a 5-lap penalty. Evans doesn't suffer from that because he had a flat tire.
So Sedgwick in front. He led 23 laps at Tucson. Hornaday sits in second, then Mike Skinner, P.J. Jones, and Jack Sprague now up into fifth. ABC's Wide World of Sports will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
You're watching ABC's Wide World of Sports.
We're back live at Mesa Marin. The crowd just came to their feet, and you can see why. It's Ron Hornaday Jr. is the leader once again. But the pass that got him there was spectacular as they used slower traffic. In this case, it was Gary Collins. We've got a car spin up against the wall.
Dave Resendez has come around, as well as John Nemechek. They both have had a little close encounter with their trucks.
Resendez was running in sixth.
And Resendez is another one of those crew chief part-time drivers. That truck is owned by Jeff Bodine. Resendez.
All right, here is what got Resendez in trouble. He loses it. Toby Butler jumped underneath, no contact. Here is that pass for the lead. They're coming up on Gary Collins. Sedgwick goes high, look down low.
This is a classic short track move. You don't have time to think about it. You've got to commit one way or the other. Sedgwick went to the high side, Hornaday to the low side, and that's just what short track racing's all about.
And boy, it was beautiful. Let's go pit side and Phil Parsons.
Well, Paul, this is the tire that came off Walker Evans' car. You see here, all the lettering is gone. That's he got up against somebody on the restart. It cut the tire. That's what caused him to come in the pits to change that tire.
Boy, very costly though. The short track, you lose time so quick. So now under caution, the second of the day with 59 laps complete. Yesterday, Jack Arute, sometimes racer, sometimes announcer, actually did a pretty good job. As he went out and took one of these super trucks out, got a little instruction from Phil Parsons.
Remember, Jack, this thing looks like a truck, but underneath it's all race car. It's 3,400 pounds, just like a Winston Cup car. So don't overdrive going down in the corner. If you do that, you can't stay on the bottom of the racetrack. And remember, also, coming off the corner, you've got 650 horsepower, so this thing will light the tires up. So be real easy with the throttle. Otherwise, have some fun. Hey, you look good out there. You were smooth. You know, you didn't overcharge the corner. You didn't spin the wheels off the corner. But if I was you, I wouldn't quit your day job.
Now, just so you don't get the wrong idea, Jack is a rather constant racer in Legends cars up at Stafford Speedway. So on a short track, he really knows what he's doing. They're lined up, ready to come back to the green.
I'll tell you what, Paul, it enabled me to learn an awful lot about the idiosyncrasies of these super trucks. They are a handful, real quick when it comes to throttle response.
Hornaday keeps the lead. Sedgwick closes in, followed by Skinner. Gary Collins there is a lap down. The real move is now coming from Jack Sprague. who closes in on the outside behind Skinner. And then PJ.
Skinner is in a real dilemma right now, Paul. He can't afford to let the lead duo get away. I really believe that it's going counter to what his original game plan was going to be. Save the tires, lay back at about 4th or 5th spot. This is a torrid pace thus far in this race for Super Trucks, and he's caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Sprague, on the other hand, I tend to think he's finally got his truck dialed in, knows that there's some Super TV exposure, and he's going to the front regardless of what happens.
Well, right now he's managed to get around the slower Gary Collins. That's one truck off and on. That's Dave Ashley. Took a big spin down the backstretch and got back on as the leaders come around.
You talk about throttle response. I was telling you before, you can actually light the tires up, and that's the situation that happened with Ashley. Coming out of the corner, you get a lot of wheel spin. It throws the truck around, and you've lost control.
And with Ashley's spin, because there is debris up on the track, they've decided to go caution once again. 64 laps now complete. Ron Hornaday Jr. is in front under the yellow, followed by Sedgwick, Skinner, Sprague, P.J. Jones, and Mike Bliss.
And we'll return to Bakersfield in just a moment for more of the ABC brings you live final round coverage of the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf. For an update, let's go to Roger Twyble. Roger?
Thank you very much, Julie. It was a beautiful day at the stadium course at PGA West for the second round of the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf, and two former two-time winners, Dale Douglas and Charlie Cootie, and Lee Trevino and Mike Hill playing awfully well. We ask you to join us for our final round coverage on Sunday here on ABC Sports.
Thanks, Roger. Here is the latest from the NFL draft. The #1 pick, Penn State's Kajana Carter, goes to Cincinnati. 29 picks have been made so far. And now let's go back to Paul Page and the NASCAR SuperTrucks. Paul?
Julie, the only thing that has changed here at Mesa Marin is we've gone from caution to green flag racing. The order remains unchanged. Hornaday is still the leader. Sedgwick is trying to catch him, as is Michael Skinner. You look a little further back in that lineup, though. One guy to keep an eye on is the 08 car of Mike Bliss, who is moving forward very quickly now. And he has really come up through this field. So Mike Bliss, who cut his teeth in the United States Auto Club, is looking great here today. There's your running order, the top cars in the field. You see Bliss sitting there behind P.J. Jones in 6th place.
And Bliss is a classic example of what this Super Truck Series is supposed to do. Offer an aspiring young race driver an opportunity to get some Winston Cup type experience, still utilizing his ability for short tracks, because they're going to mix between short ovals and the short super speedways, 1 miles like Phoenix and then the Milwaukee Mile. So this is a good series for someone like Bliss.
You know, it seems to be a little surprising to me is just out of the range of this picture on the right there is the pole sitter of the race. There's Skinner, the black #3. You would have thought that he would have been up hammering at the front. Phil Parsons, is there a problem, or is he just being smart?
Well, I talked to one of his crew guys just moments ago, Jesse Koch. I said, Jesse, you guys running as hard as you can? He said, man, we're just trying to make sure these tires stay on this thing for 125 laps, so don't count out Skinner yet.
He's just waiting station now, back about 2 car lengths behind Sedgwick.
A very uncharacteristic run for Skinner. Skinner's the type of guy that likes to go to the front. He realizes running for Richard Childress that he has to show the same sort of driving style and potential that the other man in black that drives for Childress, Dale Earnhardt, does. But as we're on board, let's watch the line of Skinner's truck as they go down the straightaways. Now you'll see him begin to initiate his turn. He'll plank that left front wheel right below the white line. Now he's accelerating, coming back up through the throttle. Right there is where you might get some wheel spin if you're not real smooth. Now, the case with someone like Skinner, he's so experienced at it, and he's got the best seat in the house for this battle for the lead directly in front of him.
Speaking of good views, let's take you now back to look out the back of P.J. Jones's truck. As we've got a spin just coming off at turn 2, and once again, it's Ashley. in the 2 truck. Remember, he was the cause of the last caution when he picked some dirt up spinning down the backstretch. No yellow yet.
Looks like no harm, no foul. They're going to keep this one going.
78 laps complete. Hornaday still the leader, but Sedgwick is right there. So is Skinner. So is the 31 of Jack Sprague. 15 trucks all on the lead lap.
Let's take a look at this spin by car number 2, the David Ashley machine. There he is. He just plain loses it as he comes to the middle of the screen. A close call there by Butler in the yellow truck, but Ashley keeps it in gear and begins to spin the rear wheels trying to get back out.
Second time today that Toby Butler has had a close call. He's going to say, okay, that's it.
You know, we were talking about Mike Skinner and the Man in Black. This lead truck, Paul, believe it or not, is owned by the Man in Black himself. Major
big
crash.
Spin from Pancho Carter. Walker Evans is in it. Lagasse goes down to the inside. So Pancho and Walker Evans make contact, our first contact of the day, this at the 80th of 125 laps. Walker Evans is able to get it restarted and stays out with damage only to the right front of his Dodge.
Let's check the right side of your frame on the screen here. You'll see the smoke begin. Pancho Carter is already sideways. Locks up all the tires on the Super Truck. A cloud of dust. Walker Evans just had no place to go. It's as if he locked up the binders and was actually sliding into Pancho because there was no hard contact there.
Going high would have been the answer, but he couldn't get that high fast enough. So Walker Evans now with a little more serious damage than we originally suggested to the front of his machine. And once again, we are under caution. Let's take a look at the top 10 here with Ron Hornaday Jr. still the leader. Look at Swindell and Keselowski. They're moving up. You've heard him express his pride about it time and time again. An alumni of Bakersfield High School, went on to become an All-American at USC, a New York Giant, and finally an announcer at ABC Sports. Take a look at number 36, class of 1948, Frank Gifford. We're at Mesa Marin Raceway on the edge of Bakersfield, California for the NASCAR SuperTrucks. Thus far, 84 laps into the record book. We are under a caution period. Walker Evans and Pancho Carter got together to cause this caution. They are both back out on the race course. They've done some repairs, but apparently no problem. They're going to keep racing. And here's the way they stand after these 84 laps. And in the pits, Bill, what's going on? What are they thinking?
I'll tell you what, Paul, I'm with Fred Wanke, crew chief for Mike Bliss in a 08 Ultra Wheel truck. I'll tell you, this guy, they started 17th and they're already up to 5th. We talked just before the race, and I said, Fred, how you doing? He said, man, we're struggling. You obviously something you did work. Tell me what you did.
Well, actually, we changed about everything on the truck. We changed the sway bar, we moved the rear end, we put spring rubbers in, and we moved the front wheels all around. And actually, the people that work on this truck is Jim Smith's Ultra Wheels off-road crew. And, you know, they've just been working hard and haven't given up. And they said, well, we'll try anything. So we did. We just took it apart and put it back together.
I'll tell you, whatever they did, it worked, and they're doing a heck of a job.
You heard the mention of Jim Smith. Well, he is one of the principals that actually started SuperTruck racing, along with Gary Collins. Off-road racers that said, we're tired of the desert. We want to try and do some organized racing in front of thousands of fans, and SuperTrucks were born.
And as you notice, under this California sun, they really sparkle. They're spectacular. Still under caution, though the course itself looks like they're pretty well ready to go. They come into their rows of 2. Cars a lap down to the inside to give the leaders of the race a nice clean shot. And we should go back racing. 125 laps, 62.5 miles of scheduled distance.
Now is when we've got to begin to think and see strategy unfolding for the end of the race. If you're in the front 4, do you run flat out? If you're in the back, do you try to come to the front? It's down and dirty time now, Paul.
You think they'll go this early?
I think they've got to try it out maybe in the initial laps, at least begin to play some dummies to see just what's going to work. Nobody's quite sure yet if Skinner has been holding back and Sedgwick and Hornaday have been running flat out. I think Skinner's going to come up now and challenge just a little bit to see what they've got left, the second and first place machines.
First, second, and third break away from the pack. That gives Jack Sprague some distance to make up if he's going to catch Skinner. Right behind him is Bliss, and then Joe Ruttman is beginning to close as well.
As we watch on board Mike Skinner's SuperTruck, one of the things that we were talking about at the top of the show is there aren't 200-mile-an-hour speeds. A lot of people didn't think that the draft played or came into play in short track racing, but there's been a lot of experimentation going on, specifically with the folks up at in Connecticut that did the Bodine bobsleds, and they're beginning to think that there might be some nuances to the draft that over all these years people have forgotten about. They run pretty big spoilers both on super trucks and most short track machines, so the draft may be something that short trackers discover very shortly.
First, second, and third continue their breakaway. Mike Bliss runs in fourth. And a giant crowd behind them. There's Mike Bliss as he closes on Sprague. This is a battle for fourth place. This group is about 3 seconds behind the leaders of the race. We're back to the leaders now.
I think we saw Skinner try just enough. He pulled his nose up with the SuperTruck, tried out the first and second place machines, got behind Sedgwick. Now he's backed off just a little bit because once again, he is trying to conserve his tires. I'll tell you what, Paul, when the tires go away on any vehicle, but especially these SuperTrucks, they're using a hard compound that was used 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I believe, in Winston Cup competition at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. They're using them here today. All drivers are taught in school to conserve their tires, especially when they don't have the luxury of coming in and changing them during cautions.
So you think that's the game with Skinner? He's made his stride. He now knows what he can do, while Sedgwick and Hornaday are really in a battle here at the front.
I cannot believe that the front two machines have run such a torrid place and, Paul, haven't used up their tires, especially Hornaday and Sedgwick. Skinner, you know, he's the guy that's becoming the tire guru on this series. He's preaching about tires going away since they dropped the green flag at the first practice.
So you're watching Hornaday and Sedgwick, 1 and 2. Third place is Mike Skinner. We asked him, what happens? What does it feel like when the tires go?
Well, basically, it just gets really heel. If the truck is loose, it's going to be real loose. If it's tight, it gets real tight, or it just gets skatey. And if the truck's pretty neutral, it just slides off four wheels. It really gets heel. Usually, whatever it's doing, it'll do a lot worse.
And as we say, when we say a racing tire goes away, Paul, it doesn't wear out. It loses its adhesion because of the fact that a team has tried to force that tire to grip the road in a very awkward position. That's in a cornering situation, and the tire gets so much heat that it begins to loosen its grip. Try and hold on to the side of a railing yourself. After a couple of minutes, you'll start to slip off.
Good explanation. I like it, too. Gets ill. There's the leader, Ron Hornaday Jr. Let's go to the pits once again. Phil Parsons.
Hey, Paul, I'm with Banjo Grimm, one of the crewmen on Ron Hornaday's truck. You guys are setting a blistering pace. You got anything left?
I believe so, Phil. Ron feels real comfortable out front, more so than running back behind any trucks. He thinks he's got something for them at the end.
That's good. That's Banjo Grimm, crewman for Ron Hornaday.
You know, one of the things, Phil and Paul, is everybody wonders about where do they get all these crew members for this series. Well, what a lot of people have done is taken right to Winston Cup once again and taken crew members, Banjo Grimm one of them, and they've brought them to SuperTrucks trying to get these youngsters started.
Taking a look back in the field now, you just got a glimpse of the 98 of Butch Miller as he took a move to the outside. Miller has moved from last place up into 8th. And there he is as he comes around P.J. Jones.
Shades of Tucson, Arizona in round 2, where Miller came from the back and really began to challenge and actually led until he ran the tires right off the car in the waning moments. Today he had a good starting spot, but remember he started from pit road because they were up under the hood before they dropped the green flag.
And Mike Bliss is around Jack Sprague for 4th place now. Swindell coming up behind PJ. Boy, look at him drift out there. Sammy Swindell in that blue car. Truck.
And Paul, the trucks now are into what we call a classic Saturday night short track action. We're down to less than 25 laps. Most short tracks run 25 or 30 lap main events. They use the extra distance ones for special events. These short truckers now are going to have to go short track style. They're going to run flat out. The question is, who's got the most rubber left to be able to propel themselves to victory lane?
Hornaday is the leader. You just saw Lagasse making a move down to the inside of P.J. Jones as well. So they're lined up, ready to go to war, while at the same time they're mixed in with the back marker traffic, and so they've got quite a bit to make up and quite a bit of traffic to try to make it up through it. 102 laps, 125 the scheduled distance, and there's your top 10. We're back live at the NASCAR SuperTrucks, Mesa Marin Raceway, Bakersfield, California. Nothing's changed since we left you. Ron Hornaday Jr. is still the leader. Well, what has changed is running through traffic. The separation now back to second place. Bill Sedgwick has increased to 1.8 seconds, and they are really having to fight their way through traffic.
Hornaday working this race traffic much better than Bill Sedgwick. Hornaday, that red truck, Paul, is owned by Dale Earnhardt, and Earnhardt taps Hornaday to drive this truck after seeing Hornaday run his own Super Truck in what was called the Winter Heat Series, which was a preamble to the NASCAR SuperTruck Series of '96. And the man that tuned the wrenches on Hornaday's regular mount at the beginning of the Winter Heat Series was Bill Sedgwick. Sedgwick in the blue and white number 75, now running in second.
Well, there's the second place, Bill Sedgwick. Now, at the same time, Mike Bliss has been able to move around Mike Skinner. Let's go to the pits and Phil Parsons.
I'm with Leon Ruth, the crew chief for P.J. Jones. P.J. looked real good early, Leon, but he seemed to be backing up. What's going wrong?
Well, we were trying to save the tires, and evidently I missed a little bit on the chassis setup today, so we're just having to slide back, and that's all we can do.
But they'll be back the next race, guys. I'll tell you, I've been watching in the corner here, and these guys are absolutely stopping down in the middle of the corner. So they're just running on air right now.
Well, you saw Hornaday as he put PJ a lap down, does the same thing now for Corelli. Hornaday's really on the fly with just 10 laps to go now to the finish.
And one has got to be impressed with the run by Hornaday, because everybody is literally running out of tires, but it does not dramatically affect the run of the red number 16. He has run the same line. As you watch him come out of the corner here, he stays real low and then just lets the truck have its own head right up to the outside. And he looks like he might have just a little bit of damage down on the right side, down by the spoiler. He's been in it already in this short track war.
You got a glimpse of the second place car, the second place truck, the 75 Sedgwick.
Yeah, we're going to be able
up alongside of
we're going to be able to have a party just on your donation.
I'm broke already. Sedgwick now trying to close in. Hornaday running alone and clear for the moment. But you don't run clear very long on a short track, especially a bank short track like Mesa Marin. 8 laps to go. Mike Bliss has had a spectacular day.
Paul, let me show you the traffic that Hornaday's got to contend with only a few laps to go. They're directly in front of him. Now, what a driver will do is try and pick his way through the traffic. If you had a watch on Hornaday right now, he wouldn't be running the same speeds, because he'll find a spot to be able to just hang the truck on the outside as he goes into the corner. There's a perfect example. Back out of the throttle, let the traffic find its own position so that you don't get caught up in an accident. But also, this helps you in terms of keeping the guys that are chasing you down in second, third, and fourth behind you. Even though he has a lengthy lead right now, he picks his way through that traffic.
It's around Jerry Churchill, around Pancho Carter. Sammy Swindell, the 38 car, the 38 truck, the blue machine there, has from time to time been kind of slow off of the order, off of the corner.
But he's still being shown in the 10th position, so a fine ride for Swindell. But this is a classic illustration, too, of the torrid pace that Hornaday has set today. He's about to lap the 10th place truck.
37 truck there is Bob Strait.
And here's where you've got to be careful, because you're glued down to the inside, working race traffic. You know there's just a fistful of laps to go. You don't want to press the outside of the envelope. Hornaday now has 2 moving picks between himself and Sedgwick. And Sedgwick is just about out of this one with 4 laps to go.
It's Hornaday, then 2 trucks, then Sedgwick. 4 to go. Sedgwick looking to the outside. Now 3 to go for Hornaday. 2 to go for Sedgwick. 1 to go for Sedgwick. 3 to go for Hornaday. 2 to go for Sedgwick. 1 to go for Hornaday. 3 to go for Sedgwick. 2 to go for Hornaday. 3 to go for Sedgwick. 1 to go for Hornaday. 3 to go for Hornaday. 3 to go for Sedgwick. 1 to go for Hornaday. 3 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 to go for Hornaday
There's Sedgwick.
Sedgwick's got the first.
The blue and the white, number 75, works the outside
Again,
of
way
Swindell.
high, loses the back end for a second.
You can see his tires are junk. They've gone away. Got so much heat in them. They've worn them down so far that he is just holding on for dear life now, trying the best that he can to keep that third-place machine of Mike Bliss from closing in on him for second.
Swindell just high in front of him with 2 laps to go. Sedgwick now makes his move down at turn 2. It was a problem for him earlier. And he's still not around him. Now he finally gets around Swindell. Second place is a long way back. And as the white flag comes out, Ron Hornaday Jr.
And Hornaday is looking at Roger Mears, Butler. Check that, not Butler, but the 58 of Wayne Jackson. Works to the inside of Jackson. This is going to be a great win.
So Ron Hornaday Jr. is looking terrific as he comes to the final set of turns. Butch Miller has moved around Jack Sprague and moved into 5th place. And Ron Hornaday Jr. takes round number 4 of the NASCAR SuperTrucks. Very, very smart drive for the day, and quite a few surprises here. Skinner finishes in 3rd. The order is Hornaday, and then Sedgwick, Bliss, and then Mike Skinner. Let's go to Phil.
I tell you, I'm with the crew chief for Ron Hornaday, Doug Richard. Doug, that's the second win out of 4. That's not too bad, huh?
And I'm real proud of the whole team, and Dale and Teresa's give us a lot of equipment to work with here. And I tell you, Ron has got a lot of potential here, and he just did one heck of a smart race today. That was the biggest key. And I talked to him every lap, and he was nice and smooth. We worked together, and I can't say much. Action Collectibles is on the truck, and I'm happy for Fred, and just looking forward to it.
All right, let's let him get to victory lane. Back up to you guys.
Hey, Phil, he's already there. He did a spin backwards coming off of 4 and backed it into the winner's circle. Ron Hornaday Jr. definitely a showman. We'll be back.
Right now we have the winner of the Ford Credit 125 and NASCAR SuperTruck Series.
We're back live at Mesa Marin, and let's take a look at the results here. Now, they're unofficial at the moment of this great run. And did I tell you that the Super Trucks were going to be spectacular? Well, Ron Hornaday takes another win this season. Sedgwick couldn't get it done at the end. Bliss, Skinner, Butch Miller in 5th place. In 6th, Joe Ruttman. Keselowski was smoking toward the end, but he still came through looking good. And then Corelli, and then Sammy Swindell, and Scott Lagasse comes in 10th place. So the race has been run here at Mesa Marin, and Ron Hornaday Jr. comes home as the winner in one really great afternoon. We'll come back and talk with Ron Hornaday right after this. Back at Mesa Marin, Ron Hornaday Jr. takes the lead twice, has it at the key point at the end of the race, and is now in the Super Truck points lead by 44 points. Let's go to Phil Parsons in winner's circle.
I tell you, Ron, super job. You knew that you couldn't change tires because of the short distance of the race. How did that affect your strategy?
Well, Phil, we talked to Dale Earnhardt and Teresa Earnhardt. I could just tell, hey, we done this one for you. You're going to do it tomorrow, I hope. I don't know. We were out there, and Doug just said, hey, cool down, pace yourself, everything else. But this RCCA Chevrolet just ran good. I tell you, that was a cool one for him.
That cooled us right down.
I don't know. Goodyear, they said that they go 125 laps out onto this track, and we were practicing all day yesterday. We really didn't think they were going to make it, but coming out here and do what it did, and Doug Richards and all the guys setting this truck up, I tell you, it's fantastic. This series with NASCAR came out with Craftsman support and everything, and everything's just great. I mean, to come out here and do what we did, and especially with the truck behind me, I was driving a couple races ago, and we can go out and beat it. I mean, it's great. Mesa Marin's been good to me, and it's our Daytona out here in California.
It'd be a little bit embarrassing if you let your crew chief outrun you, wouldn't it?
It has happened before. We just ain't going to give Doug a helmet this time, I tell you what, they put a good series together when they named this Super Trucks, and I don't know, RCCA and Snap-on and Dennis Fisher, everybody was supporting this deal. I mean, I just got to thank them all. It's been a good year so far. We're just going to keep on going and do what we got to do. We got to look at the big picture, and we keep calling Dale on the phone, and he keeps telling us to pace yourself and do what you got to do, and it's been working out for us real good.
Well, I tell you, guys, we're going to have to take it back upstairs so we can go dry off a little bit.
Yeah, Phil, I think you just found out it's sometime more dangerous doing your job in winner's circle. Jack, this is the pass that made the difference.
Now, Sedgwick in the blue car is leading at the present time. We're working race traffic. Gary Collins is right there. Collins finds himself part of a leader sandwich. Sedgwick on the outside, Collins in the middle, the red car, Hornaday sticking like glue down low, and you can see the truck just, the truck there just stuck perfectly. Now I think I owe the kitty about $12.
You wonder when in that Collins opened his eyes again.
That's right.
So that was the pass that made the difference. Let's go down once again to winner's circle and Phil.
I tell you, guys, I didn't have time to dry off, but here I am with a second-place finisher, Bill Sedgwick. I told Ron in Victory Lane there that it had been a little bit embarrassing for his old crew chief to have beat him, but I'm sure you didn't have that. That's exactly what you had on your mind, right?
I'll tell you what, Ron's usually pretty hard on tires, but he did an excellent job today. Spears Manufacturers and Oka Chevy pickup, but it was good. It was just a little bit loose, but I'll tell you what, my hat's off to Ron. Ron did a super job, and my crew also. They got this truck going good. That we're happy with second.
That's a terrific job. I'll tell you, I'm going to step right across here and get to the third-place guy, Mike Bliss. Mike started 17th. You moved all the way up to third. It looked like you might have had something for Bill there at the end, but I'll tell you, that's not bad.
No, actually, I can't say enough for the Ultra Wheels car. It ran real well today.
It's a truck.
It's a truck today. I always get that mixed up, but Fred Wonky came out and wrenched on it, and we guessed on the setup. He hit it just right. The motor ran really good today, and the Ford was there all day and never lit the tires up off the corner. I just used the throttle, used your head and come out of the corner and save the tires for the end.
I tell you, we talked to everybody before the race. Were concerned about the tires, not necessarily wearing out, but the fact that they would just go away and give up grip. But your truck, I'm saying it now. Your truck seemed to come on at the very end. That was when you were at your best.
Yeah, I could. All I plan on doing is hooking that left front right in the gravel, and that just pulls you right around the corner, and then you drive straight off the corner and keep the tires underneath you, and that's what worked for us all day.
Now, you got a lot of experience in open-wheeled cars. Does this compare at all?
Well, I think the open wheel, you can transfer that, what you know, onto this stuff because throttle control there. Open wheel, you can light the tires anytime you want, and you got to work the throttle and work it, and that's all that, I did today is work the throttle.
Well, Mike, we know you didn't run last week at Saugus. Are you going to run the rest of the races this year?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to go all forward and go through the whole races, I think.
I'll tell you, this is a guy you need to look for. Back up to you guys.
No question about that. Mike Bliss is super. The SuperTrucks are that indeed. They averaged 71 miles an hour for the 62.5 miles. This was the Hornaday finish of this race. Take a look at this.
We've said that this is a series in progress. They're beginning to develop their own traditions. They're not tradition-bound by a lot of old things. And I think what we've seen today, Paul, is a brand new tradition unfold for trips to Victory Lane.
Yeah, this is exactly what he did. After taking the checkered flag, he gave her a nice, neat, well-controlled spin. Kids don't do this at home. And then backed her over to the winner's circle. And then in winner's circle, while Bill was doing the interview, hey, a little something to kind of cool off the afternoon. There it is again. So Ron Hornaday Jr. takes the win here. As we suggested, the SuperTrucks are really spectacular, and they sparkle here at Mesa Marin Raceway. Here is the top 10 once again, unofficial. Hornaday Jr., Sedgwick, Mike Bliss, then Mike Skinner, Jack Sprague. And in 6th place, Butch Miller, Keselowski, Joe Ruttman, Scott Lagasse, and Sammy Swindell. So we've had a great day here at a marvelous track, Mesa Marin Raceway. I'm Paul Page, Jack Roots here, so is Phil Parsons. Julie, I hope you liked that. It was great.